Greetings and welcome to Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. Today's topic is one that I would find dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about activism and how it really matters to all things Peralta. My first guest is Mustafa Popal, or Popal.
Whatever.
Either way,
yeah,
right?
You're good.
Mustafa is a celebrated and well-known professor at the Peralta Colleges. Mustafa, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk a little bit about what you do, how long you've been doing it.
Cool.
And you have a little bit of family legacy in your teaching, I heard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's discuss that a little bit.
Cool. Well, I've been at the end of the semester 5 years
Right on.
at Peralta. Actually, a little bit longer. Even when I was in grad school, I came in, I was shadowing Ed Loretto just to get a feel for college students and whatnot. So I've been around Peralta for about 7 years, teaching for five years, and I teach American history primarily, though I've just moved into teaching Western civilization as well.
Right on. Right on.
And yeah, I have a teaching legacy in the district. My father is a ESL instructor here.
Excellent. Excellent.
So.
You've also created a particular course within your history classes dealing with protests in the 21st century. And as we were talking off camera a little bit, one, give me the impetus behind that.
Okay.
What was that about, and why specifically, you know, the 21st versus
it's
the
actually
historical
20th.
20th. I'm sorry,
yeah.
20th versus the 21st.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Why 20th instead of doing with right now?
Sure. Well, how far back should I go with the impetus?
Start
the Big Bang.
Really. Right, the Big Bang. Right. Why create the programming?
Well, why even go to school? I went to grad school because I saw that I had a lot of questions about why are things the way they are.
Okay.
The answer to me lies in our history.
Right on.
And so I began to go do the history. And in the process of understanding my history, I realized that why did I even ask that question, why are things the way they are, is because I was looking for answers so that I can implement and be active in. So my teaching has always been action-oriented, that I'm teaching to show students the power that exists within them, and to show them that even the biggest changes that we currently have as part of our reality started with the people themselves. That laws didn't come to be because lawyers or legislators chose that this was right. It was that there was a certain need, and that need was exposed and shown by the people themselves.
Good point.
And so all the great things that we've achieved throughout the 20th century, even the 19th century, it's come from the people raising their voice and saying, we need this change to take place.
Right.
And so it's an important part of understanding the world and the system that we exist in is, how do we create change? And how is that democratic? We're a democratic institution, a society. And we always talk about how we're a democracy and how we're better than other places because we are that democracy. Well, how does that process of democracy work? It works with the people being able to voice their opinions and effectively make change in that system. So my teaching, no matter what subject I'm teaching, is always towards empowering students to understand that they can be part of the conscious evolution of their reality.
Gotcha.
Rather than passively accepting the world that happens. We make our reality. Now let's be conscious of it and let's make it.
That gets us into the reason why we're having the show and the term. We kind of talked a little bit off camera. Give me your assessment of activism as we know it right now and activism as we knew it in 1966.
Okay, cool. Well, as we were talking about before, the word is charged.
Yes.
When someone says activist or activism, it is automatically, we've created a myth around what that is, right? An activist is what the people in the 1960s were.
Right.
They were.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only type of activist. In fact, anyone that's engaged in public education is an activist.
Okay.
And if you read the mission statements of virtually any institution of higher education, they're always talking about creating these active citizens. They're going to be better in the workplace. They're going to be better in the community. They're going to constantly do this, that, the other. But what we're saying ultimately, implicitly what we're saying is that we are an institution that creates active, energized, and involved people. That is activity. That is an activist. Our institutions are preaching activism. So if that is our mission, then every student that comes to class is by coming to school an activist.
Right.
Now, as we talked before, there is good and bad students, and there's also good and bad activists. And as faculty, staff, and administrators who live by this mission statement, we are then those people advocating the needs to create these activists.
Right on, right on. I heard that you use or utilize contemporary music in your classes for your teaching tools.
Yes, I do.
Explain to me how it helps, how it helps you reach the students, how it may hurt.
Sure. Well, I use contemporary music. I use music of the time period that we're studying and whatnot. My class is always, even as you're coming into class, often I will be playing whatever I'm listening to at the moment. At the moment,
right.
And that relaxes students, gets them in a dialogue of, oh, Mr. P, what's this, blah, blah,
right,
blah.
Right,
you listen to this. And we create a more relaxed environment to realize that the faculty member themselves is a human, not a robot that gets powered up in time for class, right?
I like that.
So you build a real connection with the students.
Right.
This is a human institution. We are all humans. I am here as a human communicating with other humans
who do the same human things.
Things, and we're together working together to create a better community.
Right.
And so for me, it's also then building a bridge between the authority. I'm a professor. I'm someone that has some knowledge in some area with some experience. You have experience. I'm giving you the knowledge of the history. Together, we can help our community.
Excellent.
Now, I use music as an artifact as well, particularly in the 20th century American protest movement. I utilize music as a way to understand the psychology, the emotions, and the feelings of the people that existed at that time period. So we may start class with a song so that they can get the deeper lessons of whatever things going on. Bob Dylan songs, Times Are Changing, or build lectures around entire songs. For instance, Strange Fruit went just beyond just expressing the feelings of people at that time, but actually brought it to the forefront of everyone's consciousness why it's wrong, and you can argue was one seed that laid the foundation for the civil rights movement in the 50s. So music is not simply something we use as an artifact to understand, but also has the power to empower people to make changes.
I like that. Yeah. Real quickly, and before we get out of here, I want to discuss or have you touch on one, the faculty position of Save Our Schools and why it's important for Save Our Schools in every campus.
Okay. Why is it important as a faculty member to be involved in it?
Yes, sir.
Because as I've already even stated and implied, my vision isn't simply making sure the student gets the credit and the student, it's part of the process, but not the ends of the process.
There you go.
The ends of the process is developing leaders, not just for the future, but for right now. The ultimate goal is our community. The reason I'm teaching is to help people get empowered to help our community, and the reason the student is there is to empower themselves to help their community. And so for me, I'm always looking at it from that point of view. I am a faculty member engaged in the same activity as these students to be improving my community. And so I think it's absolutely essential that all faculty, staff, administrators, students are working together. That we understand that we are equal stakeholders to the development of our communities and the development of our campus colleges as well. And we need to begin to some extent, deconstruct the hierarchy we've created. The hierarchy creates a psychological predicament. The psychological predicament is that the student feels powerless and knowledgeless and feels that we are there to fill them up. And so they have this psychology, inferiority complex, and then everyone else in this hierarchy has a superiority complex. That you can't challenge my idea, you can't tell me I'm wrong because you are simply the student. You cannot challenge my idea because you're simply a faculty. You cannot challenge my ideas or actions because you're simply staff. Or you cannot challenge my ideas because I'm administrator. These are the things that need to know. We are all engaged in improving our communities. And we have to then respect every voice and opinion within that to understand that it's collaborative. What we're engaged in is collaboration. Every one of us. Now, we all have families, and our families collaborate in making the family. And there's good family members, there's bad family members. Some fall off the horse, and the family pulls them back up onto the horse. And that we're all family here. And we need to collaborate, and there's an equality in that family with certain people that have certain knowledge that gives them certain authority in certain instances, but not blanket authority.
Yeah.
So.
You've just heard from a true activist. You're watching Peralta Matters. We'll be right back. Thanks, Mustafa, for coming on the show, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Peralta TV, programs that matter.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. Our topic today is activism, and I am joined now by a distinguished guest, the about 35-year veteran at Peralta, Dr. Wise Allen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's start first with the position you are currently holding, as you've held so many at the Peralta colleges. Explain to us what, in a nutshell, are the duties of a chancellor?
Well, basically, the chancellor is in charge of the Peralta Community College district. That person is the chief executive officer.
Gotcha.
And the person reports to the Board of Trustees, which are 7 elected members representing the 6 cities in which we serve.
Outstanding.
And reporting to the president is our 4 college presidents and approximately 5 vice chancellors. And through those folks, the chancellor runs the district. Now, no one person can run anything. It's through other people. And so the goal is to hire good people and those who will buy into the mission of the district, which is education, and to commit themselves to achieving the goals and missions of the district, which is education. Yeah.
So much going on right now, so much to face, so much for you in this district and this board to answer. How do you do it?
Well, it is extremely difficult. I would not be able to do it without the assistance I get from my staff. I rely on them completely. I have an excellent team that I've put together since I've been in charge. My CFO, that's the Chief Financial Officer. That's the head educational person. And that is also my Vice Chancellor of Student Services. And a good board working together to achieve the goals. So really, it's like a orchestra, and where you're conducting, and bringing everybody in tune, and harmonizing and working together for the same purpose. So from that standpoint, leadership, in my definition, is motivating people to achieve the missions that the institution has set out to be achieved.
In part of your leadership and showing how active, as we are talking about activism, Peralta is in this fight and this effort for our educational plan, there was a trip recently to Sacramento, and you participated.
Yes.
We talked to a teacher earlier, and he kind of gave his perspective on it, and we've kind of heard from some students. Let's hear from a chancellor. What was the perspective of the Sacramento trip from Peralta?
Basically, the Sacramento trip for me was an opportunity to interact with the legislators from the Bay Area. And people already know. And they are already in support of us. So as we went and toured the different offices, the people we met with already support us. So there really wasn't very much to do from that perspective. The focus probably should have been on the 4 Republicans that was needed in order to obtain the tax extension that is recommended by the the governor, which is essential for the survival of this state. And as you know, it's currently called a failed state, like Greece and Turkey and Spain and some of the other countries that are bankrupt, basically. Yes. And so Governor Brown, in his wisdom, is trying to pull us out of this. Right. But in order to do that, he has to get the necessary 2/3 majority votes, which he has not so far been able to get the Republicans to, at least 4 Republicans to agree with him. And so, and we're one of the few states in the Union where you need a 2/3 majority to do something like this, versus a majority vote. But it was an experience. I mean, I enjoyed going up there and getting the opportunity to express my views and opinions with the students.
Exactly.
And the community college, in many instances, are misunderstood. They're misunderstood in terms of our mission, what we do. Gotcha. We don't just transfer students to 4-year institutions, which we do, but we also train people for jobs. And we're the cutting edge of the future, the green economy and all of that. Laney is very prominent in that area in the workforce development and so on. So we do a lot of different things. And in many of the public and even some of our legislators question why we do not have a higher transfer rate to the 4-year institutions. It's about 35, 40% or something like that. Okay. And my answer to them is, if you give me the top 1% or the top 13% of the students coming in, we will have a 99% transfer rate. But if you have an open door policy, which is a great concept, anybody who can benefit from higher ed, you don't even have to have a diploma, a high school diploma. You don't even need that here. But can benefit from education. You can come here and at the 3rd grade level and end up at Harvard. That's right. Harvard Law School, MIT, engineer. And we've had those. That's why I cite those, because we have examples of that here in the Peralta Community College District. So we do a lot. We're the least financed. In other words, they pay us the least amount of dollars for every full-time equivalent students. We get, in the Peralta, we get $4,600. The CSU system gets somewhere around 12 or 13,000. And the UC is around 20,000. Wow. And the K through 12 is close to 8,000. So we're the least funded
doing the most work
in education in California, and probably the least funded in among the United States of America. Wow. So they expect everything from us, and we do a lot. But will not fund us fully and equally with the other institutions of higher ed. So when I go to Sacramento, I get the opportunity to make those kinds of statements to our legislators who support us, but don't understand us entirely, you see. Yes. So that's why, and I've been up there 2 or 3 times, and in the last month or so for various reasons. Excellent. And yesterday, and I met with our local mayors and stuff in the 6 cities, for 4 of the 6 cities, and so on. And they all support us, and they know what we do, and they know how hard we work to achieve our goal. The problem is that with the current state of the state, we're going to end up, and we have already begun to eliminate or not serve the population that we were designed to serve.
Right.
And the reason for that is that as the tuition it goes up at the CSUs and the UCs, we're getting a lot more those students coming in.
Gotcha.
And they register, they know the system. They register early. As soon as the class opens, and our students who are not as sophisticated traditionally,
Right.
and they been used to coming to class the first day of class and signing up.
Signing in, yeah. Those days
The classes are all filled. And so there's a whole population that will be, that we've given opportunities to in the past, will not have opportunities in the future. Those folks will be locked out of the system. And as you know, you have to have an education to survive in the 21st century. And so those folks, we're having a whole population of folks in California that are being locked out of the system that will be picked up in other areas by the other agencies, the welfare department, the correction department, other areas, the homeless. So we're going to pay one way or the other.
I agree.
And so if we don't pay on the front end, we will pay on the back end.
Yeah.
And so it is really a sorry state of affairs that we are facing this kind of crisis, because it's not necessary. Because we have, what, the 8th largest economy in the world, and we are demanding all these services, and you don't want to pay for them. You got to have some taxes.
Yes.
And we're one of the, probably the only Western country in the world that don't want to pay taxes for services.
Doesn't make sense.
They want the services,
Right.
but they don't want to pay for them.
Yeah.
So, and education in particular.
Yeah.
And we're not investing in our future here right at the moment.
At the moment.
I hope that will change in the future.
I agree with you, sir. You have just heard from a true activist at the Peralta Community Colleges, Dr. Wise Allen. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with Peralta Matters.
Peralta TV, programs that matter.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are talking activism, and I am now joined by COA Student Body President Jean Washburn. Welcome to the show, Jean.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thanks for coming on. Let's start first with your present role, Student Body President. What's that about?
Student Body President. Well, I think I view the whole role of student government in general to be a large part of activism for the students. We spend an awful lot of time on shared governance committees,
Right on.
which is the closest you can get to what's actually happening at the school. I mean, we've got budget committee, college council, there's even safety committee, all sorts of things. So I mean, any sort of way that the school gets run, all of these sorts of decisions get made at the committee level and are recommended to the president. So I mean, we really take our responsibility as being the voice of the students at this shared governance very seriously, because that's what activism's all about. It's about making sure that the students are heard at every level.
Right.
So you always have to do the local. The
I
local's
agree.
always the most important.
You served as president of Save Our Schools, which is now, I believe, a 2-year running
yeah,
program.
it's in its second year, I think. Yeah.
I touched on a little bit with Mustafa, but I'd like for you as a student to express and explain what the importance of Save Our Schools is and why it's necessary.
Save Our Schools Club, well, the reason why the club is important is because it's essentially closest link to the students that we can get. I mean, it's directly trying to pull students from this population, from classes, from off the street, wherever we can get them. Actually, any community member. We want teachers, you know, faculty, staff, administration, anybody who is interested in helping the students achieve what they need to achieve is welcome here in our eyes.
Right on.
I mean, the whole point of trying to help the students to do what they need to do, which is learn, succeed, and go out into life and be the best person they can be, is to make sure that they have a school to go to, and everybody's involved in that, right? It's not just the students, it's not just the faculty. The janitors are involved in this, everybody is. And I personally feel that what makes SOS at College of Alameda special is our interest in inclusiveness. We want everyone, because this really does affect everyone.
Yes, agreed.
So.
Just took a recent trip to Sacramento in protest of our current budget crisis.
Yes.
Give us your report on that.
My report, well.
From a student perspective, of course.
I thought it went spectacularly. I mean, we, at COA, I know we actually exceeded our numbers from last year. Which a real learning experience about how to get people motivated and how to get them actually out to go protest. And while there, despite the rain, I think it went really well. College of Alameda students actually got a chance to talk with legislators, aides, and all sorts of different people. And I really think that the student perspective, I mean, when they hear about what students are going through, their actual stories, not like the numbers, not, you know, these are the facts. They really need to hear, this is your life. This is why it matters to you. Because, I mean, it's a life that is affected. It's not a number that's affected. The numbers don't care. It's your human life. And that's the reason why everybody should get involved. So telling that story, I mean, everybody I've ever talked to about lobbying has said, tell your story. Because it is your story that is the most important. It's your story that grips the heart and takes control of, you know, the emotions of the person you're talking to. And if you don't tell your story, if we don't keep telling the story of students, we're not going to get anywhere. So, and I think we did a great job of that at the SSCCC March in March this year. We had more students than ever. I mean, and it's, I believe, now the largest protest that the state capitol's ever seen. So, yeah.
That's a good number. That's a good thing
it's fantastic. It's a wonderful thing to be able to say. So, yeah.
Good. Thanks again, Jean, for coming on the show. It was
no
great
problem.
Education. This is a former or soon-to-be transfer student from COA, Student Body President Jean Washburn. I also want to thank all of our guests for coming on. And from everybody at Peralta TV, we want to thank you for watching. And until the next time, please do something that matters.
Peralta TV, programs that matter. Peralta TV.